But I think initially it was a dream for us to create a space that celebrates Lebanese culture and people and women. And I think the underlying maybe also objective was maybe to save our lives a little bit, you know, and take us both out of a very, very difficult environment. So last year we launched the first Arab Pride, Barcelona.
Yes.
It's such a beautiful project. Our community deserves to have its own pride,
Yeah.
where again, everyone is welcomed. This is part of who we are as an identity. So I'm really hoping this year to continue building that, to make it more inclusive, to identify more artists that we can collaborate with. Is the city that it is.
Yeah.
It is open, it
Very.
is welcoming,
Yeah.
it is diverse.
And Pride it's very big here. People come to Barcelona in June for this reason. Hola, soy Anjalina y bienvenidos a mi podcast Un té con Anjalina, donde cada semana hablamos con gente en el mundo de la gastronomía y más allá. Hablamos de sus proyectos, de sus restaurantes, de sus libros, pero también hablamos de un tema que a mí me gusta mucho, que es el tema de la gratitud. Siempre es importante entrar en temas más profundas para conocer a gente más de esta manera más profundo. Espero que estáis disfrutando mucho el podcast. Si lo estáis disfrutando, por favor, seguirlo, dando un like y también compartirlo con tu gente. Este podcast será en inglés. Hoy nos acompaña Cindy Nehme, una visionaria que ha fusionado su herencia libanesa con su pasión por la comunidad y la inclusión. Tras una exitosa carrera en comunicación digital, sus viajes frecuentes a Barcelona despertaron un sueño. Junto a su amiga Pamela Siriani, fundó Beryti, un restaurante que lleva la esencia de la cocina casera libanesa al corazón de Barcelona. Más que un restaurante, el 99% del equipo que creó Beryti son mujeres, reflejando su compromiso con el empoderamiento. También lanzó Cabaret Beriti, un espacio seguro e inclusivo para la comunidad árabe queer bajo el lema You Can Sit With Us. Su mantra lo dice todo: practica la confianza y el amor propio y el resto es magia. Vamos a dar la bienvenida a Cindy a Un té con Anjalina. Muchas gracias, Cindy.
No, gracias a ti, Habibi. Muchas gracias.
Thank you for being here. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. I'm so happy to see you. I don't see you enough.
Finally.
Yes. So I'm really, really pleased to have you here in my little home, which is our studio today. And just to welcome you, I would like to serve you a cup of masala chai, if you let me.
Please, thank you.
It's a very simple chai recipe that I hope you like. It's a little bit sweet, but it also has its spices in it. So please have a little sip and we can do a little cheers.
Congratulations for the podcast.
Thank you for being here. I hope you like the tea. It's mild. It's not very, very spicy, but it's nice and warming.
Wow.
And also, I always like to give someone something sweet when they come to my home. So I prepared a little cake. It's got blueberries. It's got spices. So whenever you feel like having a bite, please, it's there for you.
I will.
So there's lots to talk about with you because I really admire everything that you do. I really admire your philosophy, and we will get to that. But I want to start by going a little bit back in time.
Yeah.
And asking you so that we can tell everybody about Cindy when she was around 12 years old.
Yeah.
Where was she exactly in the world? And what were you eating at the time? That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah. So, Cindy, 12 years old, in my parents' home. So, I grew up with my mom and my brother because my father had to work abroad in order to provide for us. So you have to understand that both my parents are teachers. And so they lived on a very, very humble wage. So they had to make the decision of one of them leaving to be able to provide for the family, you know? So I have a tremendous example of a woman in my mom, working mom, but also very attached to life, you know. We never had a meal delivered ever. She always used to finish her job and make sure she was there on time to cook for us.
Yeah.
So this is why for me, homemade meal and celebration of women, which are themes that are very present in Beryti, this is where it comes from.
I know. And you can really feel the essence of that, especially behind your story. I mean, to start something from zero, to come to Barcelona with Pamela and to begin this journey, this adventure. I mean, what was it that made you do it? Because obviously it's not easy to start somewhere from zero and also to open a restaurant. I mean, that's one of the hardest things to do. So what was the driving, sort of incentive behind it, if there was one? Like, what was it that made you want to do this?
So full disclosure, we did not know that at the time.
Yeah.
We did not know that it's the most difficult industry to be in. But what I guess is when we think about it at the time, we thought that would make for a great story, honestly. We both had a dream of celebrating our culture, you know, celebrating Lebanese women, Lebanese food, Lebanese people. And we had celebrated Beirut by fighting for Beirut, by fighting in Beirut, until we were completely exhausted, you know, from doing it. And we decided that, you know what, we need a break. And we always had a dream to come to Barcelona, setting up a restaurant. We thought it was a retirement plan, let me tell you, okay? And this is how delusional we were at the time. They were like, yeah, we cook, you know, like
ambitious, I would say.
Ambitious. Let's go with ambitious.
Let's go with ambitious.
Let's go with ambitious.
Yeah.
I figured because we always hosted, you know, we have it a lot in our culture, and I imagine it's the same with you, right?
Yes, for sure. We are a hosting culture.
We are hosting culture. Hospitality is really like driven. It's like engraved in our DNA.
Yes.
And we're like, that's not going to be difficult to do, you know?
Yeah.
But I think initially it was a dream for us to create a space that celebrates Lebanese culture and people and women. And I think the underlying maybe also objective was maybe to save our lives a little bit, you know, and take us both out of a very, very difficult environment, which is, you know, like the Middle East.
So how long ago was that now? What year was that?
So we moved in 2018 to Barcelona.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't know anyone. We didn't speak the language. We had no idea how to run a restaurant. And it's the adventure of a lifetime, Anjalina. Honestly, it's the adventure of a lifetime. To be able to walk Barcelona street by street, to understand the city, to know how do you open a restaurant? How do you do it? If you don't know anyone, if you don't know the industry, if you don't speak the language, if you've never cooked for more than 3 people.
So how did you do it?
We figure it out step by step. It's trial and error. Beryti as a project is all trial and error. And I imagine it's a really reflection of life in general.
And I did read that it was supported mainly by women, correct?
Yeah.
So in what ways? How has this been supported by women? What have the women done within their involvement in Beryti?
Yeah, so initially the idea of Beryti is Pamela and I, my friend, creating a restaurant, celebrating Lebanese culture. But like I said, we had no idea how to build a brand, you know? I had experience in communication and brand building, but I think when it comes to building your own, and I imagine you have went through the same process as well, it's like you freeze, right? And so, for example, we found a space, but we didn't know how to renovate it.
Yeah.
And we hired 3 project managers at the time that we fired on Google Translate, by the way, because we didn't speak the language.
Okay.
Because they were like not understanding the concept that we wanted, you know, like the soul that we wanted to pour in the space.
Well, how could they also is my question.
Of
Because
course,
if you're coming from such a personal space and such a personal vision, it's very difficult to reflect that on someone else who is not coming from the same place as you are, you know?
100%.
And so it's never going to look like or translate into what your vision is it?
100%.
So you knew that and you realized that, and then you decided, okay, that's not working.
Yeah. So we were like, we need this to look like a home.
Yeah.
This is not a business.
And it really does.
Thank you. So this is thanks to our friend Vanessa. And Vanessa is our friend from Beirut. She's an architect. And we were like, listen, we have no idea how to renovate this. We spent 2 months on FaceTime renovating the space on FaceTime.
Yeah.
Okay? And you can imagine instructions to buy paint, instructions where to place like the electric plugs, how to put on the lights, which lights to use.
Yeah.
And then she came to Barcelona for free for a month to do the final touches so that we're ready for the opening.
Yeah.
So this is one. 2, we had our friend Liliane as well, who made all the lighting. The reason why it feels so cozy is because of that. We invested a lot in having warm light, in having the neon as well.
Yes.
You know, which brings this warmth to the space. Our friend Jessie, she helped us with the PR back home in order to tell the story so that people can be proud, of a Lebanese success story, but also be inspired that if we were able to do that, and you saw me and Pamela, we're just like 2 tiny women. If we were able to do that, then anyone can do anything. Anything is possible.
And your focus on Lebanese home cooking, it's a very different sort of, for a lot of people, it's very different because Lebanese food is known in a certain way in many places in the West. But this focus is very different. So these are dishes really from your homes that you have taken and you have said, we want people to experience what real Lebanese home cooking is. How difficult was that to communicate that to the local people in the Barrio of Gracia, for example?
Yeah. So you have to understand, again, it all goes back to this is not a restaurant, okay? This is us celebrating our people, right? And so with that, I feel we had to find a way to be able to translate that, to the neighborhood. And what we did is that we thought, okay, in general, in Lebanon, when you move to a new neighborhood or, imagine you move to a new house, what usually happens is that the neighbors greet you into that neighborhood. They always come with sweets or they introduce themselves.
It's very similar to Indian culture.
I imagine, we're very community-based, very hospitable.
Yeah.
And we figured, but here we are the foreigners, so it has to be the other way around. And what we did is that with the very little Spanish that we had at the time, we printed invitations with our pictures on them, and we walked 1 kilometer, I would say, radius around Gracia, door to door, with the invitations, knocking.
Wow.
Hola, 2 chicas libanesas, restaurante, invitación.
Oh.
That was it.
That's very brave.
That's instilled in us, it feels very organic to us. It feels very authentic to us to do that.
What was the reaction in general?
So we did a pre-opening party for the Barrio of Gracia. So you have to imagine, we don't know anyone.
Yeah.
It was packed. People were like queuing in the street, coming to welcome us. And that, Anjalina was like, oh my God.
That says a lot. That says a lot for community, doesn't it?
Yeah. If you go with your heart open, honestly, you will be received with arms wide open.
Yeah.
This is my experience in Beriti, in Gracia, in Barcelona.
That's fantastic, honestly. I mean, it just always goes back to that. It goes back to community. It goes back to sharing. And for you, you have this concept of a sharing table, of people coming and, you say you can sit with us. Now, I've heard you say this a number of times. I've heard you express this many times in many interviews that you've had. When you say you can sit with us, I think each person has a definition that's different of this. What's your definition of you can sit with us?
So there are two parts to it, okay? The first part is, as any immigrant or any expat, when you go and start over in a city when no one knows you, it can be very, very lonely, you know? And
I know.
Well, there you go.
I know.
There are experiences that are universal, that so just like you, just like myself, I'm sure there are a lot of people who have experienced it coming to the city. And because we went through this, Pamela and I, we understand what it's like to be isolated, what it's like to be lonely. And we decided that we were gonna do something about it. In parallel, around that time, there was this hashtag that was super viral.
Yeah.
You can't sit with us.
You can't, as in
You
with
can't,
a T.
as like we are the cool squad.
And I haven't heard about that.
Yeah.
You see, I'm in another world that I don't know about the negatives.
Yeah, well, like also my experience in communication, just I am very much aware of what's happening on digital, on platforms, in trends, just to be up to date.
Of course.
And so that really touched me because it's like we are the cool squad and you can join us. And I wanted to create something that is the complete opposite of that, that everyone is welcomed in Beryti. And yes, you can sit with us.
Yeah. But it has a wider connotation as well, doesn't it? So you also, apart from Beryti as we're going to call it a restaurant because it is a restaurant, but it's a sort of homecoming kind of restaurant where we all feel welcome. You also decided to add something else to that. It's a beautiful concept, and it's the Cabaret Beriti.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that. I've only been able to attend one, unfortunately. And my experience was next level, fantastic. I absolutely loved the energy, but I'd rather you explain to us what that is.
So we started the restaurant. We're sharing our food and our culture with Barcelona as a city. And we realized like 2-3 years into it that there's a very, very big community that is not celebrated. And it's the Arab queer community. So there's something that you need to understand, a bit of context around that.
Yeah.
Being an Arab queer means that there's a lot of shame around it back home in our home countries, There's a lot of shame, there's a lot of judgment. And so what happens is that you are rarely celebrating your queerness in Arabic.
Yeah.
What happens is that when you leave, you try to hide that identity and try to kind of integrate in the new society where you're at, with the new language, with the new culture. But can you imagine just completely repressing this side of you? And so when we saw that, we thought like Barcelona is such a queer city, right?
Yes.
But there's this very big community, the Arab queer community, that doesn't have space to live its queerness in Arabic.
Yeah.
And this is how Cabaret Beriti came to be, like we dream in Arabic, we love in Arabic, we get angry in Arabic, we get sad in Arabic. So no, we have to be celebrated in Arabic.
Absolutely.
And there you have it, Cabaret Beriti.
Yeah.
And ever since, Anjalina, honestly, like...
When did you start that?
We started it in the bistro.
Yeah.
It was called Yalla Habibi initially.
Okay.
So Yalla Habibi, vamos,
Me encanta, yeah.
And then we turned it into cabaret because we wanted to host artists, performers from the Arab and Swana region to create like this whole cabaret vibe, And what really gives me so much love is that when I see projects sprouting all around the city to celebrate Arab queerness, for me, this is it.
Yeah. So we basically have to plant the seed, right? I think it all comes from just beginning to start planting, and then we watch things just start growing from there. And I'm sure that Cabaret Beriti is also a testament to the fact that not only is it for the Arab queer community, but it's for absolutely everyone. And I have to say, as somebody who has attended this with some friends, you know, it's a space where everyone can feel comfortable, everyone can feel welcome. And again, your motto, "You can sit with us," comes into play because, you know, I personally really felt like I was a part of something and a part of a community that isn't necessarily mine
Yeah.
per se, but that I could make it mine if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And it felt really good. It felt really good organically. It wasn't like it was being forced on me, or it was you were not making some big announcements and things like that. It was just a very natural environment to be in. And so I feel like that's an amazing way to do it. You know, it's
And I remember you dancing with your friends, remember, at
I
that
mean, I
cabaret?
couldn't stop.
It was,
I didn't want to stop dancing. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, it
You
was
know,
just the energy.
It started as providing a safe space for
Yeah.
queer Arabs because they didn't necessarily have a space they could call their own.
Yeah.
But I think if we look at the overarching themes, of what we do in Beryti,
Yeah.
is the celebration of people. It's a celebration of life, and it's not compartmentalized.
Yeah, exactly.
It's universal.
Yeah. And that's what all messages should basically be about, right?
Yeah.
I would like to enter now into the theme of gratitude.
Yeah.
And just ask you about maybe a couple of instances, because I believe that gratitude is so important and that we need to sort of give thanks on a daily basis, which we do, but also give importance to moments that have given us those opportunities where we are now, that have brought us to this particular moment in our lives. Are there any instances where you felt this deep gratitude? It could be negative, positive. Could you share something with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of my friends look at me and they say that you are one of those really annoying person for the gratitude that you practice in your life. And I think for me, it's...
Why annoying though?
Why annoying? Because, we went through a war recently, and to be able through the darkest time to find a very, very small light, to be grateful and find gratitude. It's difficult, it's difficult. It can be frustrating at times, you want to be angry, there's a lot of injustice that is happening around the world. So how can you find space to be grateful in the same time? And the reason is my parents. The reason I am the person I am today is because I was brought up to this world with two amazingly beautiful people that are constantly grateful for everything, with everything they've lost, with all the hardship of life. I was having a call with them during the war, like a few months ago, in November. Pitch black, no electricity. You can hear the Israeli jets in the background. And my dad is like, we're okay. We're very grateful to be together. We are very grateful to be together. We are making dinner with candlelights. Don't worry, everything is okay. So when you have that as an example, so this is one, my parents, very grateful for them, for the beautiful, amazing human beings that they are. The second moment in my life that really marked me was I suffered a horrible burnout when I used to work in communication that completely destroyed me physically, mentally. And it made me stop to think about who I am as a person. I was 30 years old at the time.
Yeah.
What do I want in life? Why am I letting this happen to me? And that led me into this beautiful self-discovery journey with therapy, with volunteering, with being part of projects that are absolutely mind-blowing with so many strong women like Su'at Tayyib, which is an NGO based in Beirut that empowers and activate small-scale producers, mainly women, into being economically independent by celebrating their craft.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So imagine something that really, really broke you and was very hard to go through. Turned out to be one of the most beautiful, positive experiences of my life. And the third one, Beryti.
Yeah.
Beryti. I am so grateful for Beryti, for all the lessons, for all the connections like you, for, wow. Like I look at it today, Anjalina, still until today, it's been open for 6 years now.
And you recently had a bit of a setback as well.
Yeah.
What happened?
With the fire and just be able to look at it and be like, wow, very grateful. Look where we are. Look what we're doing. Look about the amazing people we're bringing together and the amazing projects that we are inspiring.
Yeah.
It's wholesome in so many ways.
Yes.
It humbles you in so many ways, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, grateful.
We're grateful to you for
Thank you.
For Beryti, for opening up all these sort of new paths that a lot of people wouldn't have been able to come across, and to get to know you is also a huge honor, because you're doing so much, not just for the queer community, not just for the Lebanese community, but I think a city like Barcelona benefits so much from people who are doing more, because it opens everybody's eyes and it makes people see differently and educate themselves differently. So I'm thankful to you for that. I think it's absolutely wonderful that you're doing that, and you're inspiring other projects, as you said. I think it's really wonderful that from these seeds, there are other things growing. Are there any other projects that you're doing now aside from what you've already done so far, which is huge?
Yeah.
If there's anything you'd like to tell us about?
Yeah, so last year we launched the first Arab Pride Barcelona.
Yes.
It's such a beautiful project. It's our community deserves this.
Yeah.
Our community deserves to have its own pride,
Yeah.
where again everyone is welcomed. This is part of who we are as an identity. So I'm really hoping this year to continue building that, to make it more inclusive, to identify more artists that we can collaborate with. Is the city that it is.
Yeah.
It is open, it is welcoming, it is diverse.
And Pride is sort of, it's very big here. People come to Barcelona in June for this reason, right?
Yeah.
So are you hoping to tie in with that celebration as well, or is it going to be an independent thing, or how are you planning on doing it?
The way we're planning it is twofold: to be part of obviously the pride of the city, and second, for me, pride is not should not be left to June or July to celebrate.
Of course not.
This is something that I want to celebrate all year long.
Yes.
Just like women, we celebrate them all year long.
Absolutely.
And another project we're kicking off again is the guest chefs. This is a project that has brought so much joy and knowledge and has exposed us to so many cultures. We've had guest chefs, and by guest chefs, they're not professional chefs. It's customers with their moms who are coming to the city for a visit.
Fantastic.
That we invite to share their culture with us. We've had South Korean family join us. Persian, we've celebrated Nowruz last year with a Persian family. Can you imagine? This is gratitude.
It's
again.
Fantastic. Yeah. It's wonderful.
So now we're probably gonna have our first Caribbean. Yes.
Amazing.
So excited about this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So you really have opened up the space for so many different cultures, people from everywhere, and I think it really does feel like home, and I think that was always your intention, right?
Yeah, I think because we say it's a celebration of our people, of our moms, of our culture, we have a responsibility to uphold to that, and this means that it's very difficult for us to go off track. Very difficult, because we have a guiding star.
Why would you want to anyway go off track?
Well, you know, sometimes if you're running a business, we get a lot of like offers, you know, in terms of produce that is cheaper for whatever reason. And for us, if I hear my mom's voice in my head, you know, that's not the way I'll do it. Yeah. And so that's it.
Yeah. So she's the guiding light here, right? Basically.
For both of us, you know, and Pam's mom as well. Like they really accompany our journey, you know. Yeah. So yeah, we have a very big responsibility to honor them, and it gives us so much love to do it. And also because you know that this will carry on. So, you know, you're just a facilitator in a way, right? Yeah. And you always have to think of it. I mean, I think of things in that way that, you know, if you're going to start something, you have to remember that you're not going to be the one to carry it on. You're going to pass the torch. 100%. Right? 100%. Yeah. And I see you doing it, you know, in your books, in your tours. We all have, like you said, the responsibility. And another thing that you do a lot is you give a lot of talks, right? And there are places that you can go where you are able to talk about the sort of initiatives that you're taking. So tell us a little bit about those talks that you do. Yeah, so I think it all comes down to the fact that Pamela and I, we come from Lebanon. Lebanon is one of the smallest countries in the world. And apart from that, it's we figured that we think of ourselves like sometimes that we don't necessarily have a lot of opportunities, you know, and for us, being able to be here in Barcelona doing this means that we have to, like you just said, exactly that, understanding our privilege, extending the torch, you know, making sure that any woman or any person around the world, no matter where they are, no matter the hardship of the environment they're in, it's important for them to know that they can do whatever they dream of. Anything is possible. You know, if we were able to do it, anyone is able to do it. And this is why I go on these talks, you know, not necessarily to talk about Beryti, but to make sure I didn't have that growing up. Yeah. Imagine, you know, like, I don't know about you, but for me, it was my parents. My parents were like the driving force behind everything. I grew up to there's nothing you can't do. And so I feel like because I've had this privilege, I consider it a privilege. 100%, you know?
It is. We have a voice. It's a big privilege.
Have a voice. It's right?
Huge.
Right.
Yeah. We have to use it.
So we have to use it and we have to pass it on.
Yeah. And I think that's great because they're the younger generation and, you know, people who are watching, we always know that people are watching. So we have to be very careful about how we communicate things as well. And the way we really want to share, you know, the things that we believe in. It's so important. It's so important. And you're doing that through your food. You're doing that through culture, through music, through art. And it's the way it should be done. It really is. And it's the most loving way.
It is. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of love in what we do. And, you know, I want to, you know me by now. Yeah. Any way I can support anyone listening today to this podcast, from mentoring, from advice on building a business, to branding, to creating communities, this is something that I offer, you know, complimentary for free. So please reach out to either Angie or myself and let's do it.
No, Cindy is great. And honestly, you're a very good communicator.
Thank you.
Because as I always say, when you're communicating, it needs to be from the heart and nothing else. Yeah. So that's exactly what you do. Thank you. I thank you for that. I really do. Thank you. Thank you so much. I've had such a nice conversation with you.
Always.
It's great. I always
love talking to you. Have you noticed? We started talking and...
I mean, if I didn't have a timer, and, you know, I'm sorry, but we do. So we're going to have to kind of now start wrapping it up a little bit. And I wanted to finish with a slightly lighter note.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So if you'd like to have a sip of your tea, I'm going to sort of do a few quick fire questions.
Let's do this.
Just to keep it light.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vamos.
Let's go lighter. Okay. Ready?
Yellow.
Okay. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Okay. Wow, that was quick.
I discovered specialty coffee. Very
That's
recently.
That's why.
I can't go back.
Okay, fair enough. Street food or fancy food?
Street food, 100%. Falafel, shawarma.
Anything from the street. That's
from
the
the
way
street,
you get educated,
please.
right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And the energy of the street, please. Like the screens, they're shouting your name. They're
Everything.
like,
It's a whole experience.
it's wow.
Yeah. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Your favorite spice?
Za'atar.
Oh, gosh. I love za'atar on everything. I love za'atar on literally everything. Literally.
I have a beautiful za'atar story for you very quickly.
Yes.
So we try as much as possible to source the very, very, authentic ingredients from Lebanon.
Yeah.
There's a za'atar grower. His name is Abu Qasim in the south of Lebanon. And he's been growing za'atar in minefields that Israel left in the south. Talk about food as resistance.
Wow.
So we try to source our za'atar from him.
And are you able to get it from him?
Whenever I go, I bring za'atar with me. Yeah.
Wow. I'd love to try some of that.
I will get you. I'm going now in April. I'll get you.
Oh, yes. Your favorite time of the year, or season rather?
Spring.
Yeah. Coming.
The flowers blooming. Spring.
It brings a lot of hope, doesn't it?
It brings a lot of hope. It's the greenery, that just like stimulates your mind and your senses. Yeah. And for me, spring is my mom. It's her. It's her with her flowery robe.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. What music are you listening to lately?
Classical music.
Oh, really? But classical from where? Like, are we looking at what kind of classical music are we?
So I grew up as a pianist. Actually, I'm a
really.
Yeah. I'm not so good anymore. But
I'm sure you are.
I was classically trained on the piano. So,
is there any favorite piece that you enjoy listening to, or any favorite composer?
Vivaldi's Four Seasons is my favorite.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
I used to know how to play that on the piano
really?
as well. Yeah. I was never that good, but yes. I was okay. The dish that you could never live without in your life? It's a tough one.
It's a tough one. Yeah. I love comfort food. Mm-hmm. I love basics. I am, that scene in Ratatouille, when the critic is tasting the ratatouille, it's he goes back to this memory of home. Yeah. For me, it's the most basic dish that I absolutely love, and it's a celebration of spring as well. Mm-hmm. It reminds me a lot of my home village, which is a very small village in the north of Lebanon, and we used to grow everything: potatoes, green onions, mint, thyme. And it's a mashed potato dish with extra virgin olive oil, a lot of za'atar, a lot of sumac. Oh, gosh. And then you have green onions, mint, pomegranate on top. Oh, it's just delicious.
So amazing.
Yeah, it's a hug to the heart.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes that's all you need. Yeah. What's yours, by the way?
Oh my gosh. If I start, we're never gonna okay. I'll tell you later. Okay. Mountain, city, or sea?
Mountain.
Well, that was fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the sea, but there's something about the mountain that just brings me a lot of peace. Mm. Yeah, it's the forest bathing for me. There's sunbathing, but there's also forest bathing.
Is gorgeous. It's very life-giving.
It's very, very life-giving, honestly, and it grounds me and it slows me down.
Yeah.
And in this very hectic life, it's super needed.
Yes. How often do you get to go to nature? Do you get the chance to?
So I moved to Carmel because of that.
Okay.
So now I live next to Park Güell.
Oh, that's nice.
And my walk to the city is always through the park.
Oh, that's lovely. That's luxury.
Gratitude.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh, gratitude to you. Thank you so much, Cindy. Thank you. It's been amazing talking to you. One last question that I ask everybody who comes on the podcast is to share. You've already shared an idea of your dish that, is sort of your comfort food. But I always ask a guest to share a recipe that they would cook for their loved ones.
Yeah.
Something soulful. Could you share something with us?
Yes, of course. So I call it Minge's potato. Minge's is my home village.
Okay.
So it's mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
So you get like a couple of potatoes. They're called here Mona Lisa potatoes.
Yeah.
This is the kind that you need to get. You boil them until they're really, really soft.
Mm-hmm.
You mix them with Lebanese sumac and Lebanese thyme and extra virgin olive oil. Okay, so this is your potatoes already. And then on the side, fresh mint, fresh green onions. You can put a bit of toasted sesame seed if you like, tomatoes, pomegranate, season to taste with a bit of like lemon shavings or a bit of like lemon juice. You top the potatoes with that.
Wow.
Bon appetit.
Okay.
Enjoy.
I love this recipe. I'm going to make it this week.
Please do.
It sounds gorgeous.
It's
but
delicious.
I don't have Lebanese thyme and Lebanese
I'll have
sumac.
them. No. I'll have them sent to you.
I'll come and
No. I'll have them sent to you. I'll have them sent to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
always
your
a pleasure.
time. Thank you for everything that you're doing. And, if you're in Barcelona, and if you're not, you need to come, because you need to come to Beriti. You need to meet Cindy and Pamela, and you need to see what they're up to. So thank you again. And thank you for listening and for watching. Gracias.